a great success and congratulate the organizers, DPIIT, and the participants of Udyog Manthan. Finally, I thank you all for this opportunity that you gave me to interact with you. And I thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insight and setting up the context for the session. Now, I'm pleased to introduce the moderator of this session, Mr. Dipan Sanyan. He is a chief scientist and head of the Advanced Ceramic and Composite Division, as well as the Energy, Materials and Devices Division of the CSIR Center Glass and Ceramic Research Institute, Kolkata. He is an honorary professor of Academy of Science and Innovative Research, India, in the Faculty of Engineering Sciences. Now I hand over to Sanya, sir, to take forward this session.
Yeah, thank you. At the outset, I'd like to profusely thank this organizers of this Udyog Manthan for taking up a very timely initiative to set up dialogues among the industry captains and end users of glass and ceramic industry, which is actually poised to take a leap towards leadership in many areas, provided we address the very, very pertinent issues of quality and productivity, which is the tone of this particular webinar, with a kind of a rider. In this particular event today, we are going, as far as possible, we are trying to not to digress from this fact that we are not discussing all aspects on earth of glass and ceramic industry. We are trying to address it to quality and productivity issues, as well as we are trying to find ways how we can cater to the call of our Honorable Prime Minister and the Government of India on Atmanirbhar Bharat. We have to take advantage of the fact that we are becoming a rising global power, and to leverage our core strength towards utilizing our skills. The human resources and the skills, the native skills are quite high, but we may have to upgrade our technologies, and we have to address the quality and productivity issues. So with this perspective, I just want to assure you, I mean, the tone has been very, very nicely set by our Additional Development Commissioner, Mr. Piyush Srivastava, and he has evidently studied this field in a very comprehensive manner, and he has highlighted the key points which need attention. We would like to have this kind of a focus that we can address from various industry captains, the points raised by various industry captains in today's session, which is basically we have very eminent speakers, 8 of them, and when you listen to them, we have to address all aspects of glass and ceramics. Just I will very briefly add one exercise that CSIR as a umbrella institute of 37 laboratories, which constitutes materials and metals and materials also. CGCRI and CSIR together, we did study during the COVID and post-COVID situation, post-COVID meaning last year towards August, September, how to address the flagging economy and how to revive our economy and how to understand the kind of a SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat in the glass and ceramics industry. And our study has revealed quite a few facts, which, as Mr. Srivastava said, that our dialogue should not be limited to this webinar. And we from CSIR are ready to share with the government the findings of our exercise as and when required. So we have actually categorized, I'm not getting into details, too much details, but we have categorized the entire glass and ceramics industry into 10 subsectors. I'll just name the subsectors before I introduce our next speaker and hand over the session to the next speaker. The 10 subsectors are specialty glass meaning very, very niche areas of glass, specialty fibers, traditional ceramics and consumer products, ceramic refractories, technical ceramics, ceramics for environment, which is basically several key ceramic material and devices for like membranes, ceramic membranes for water filtration, ceramics for energy. We develop solid oxide fuel cell in India, functional and nanoceramics, then ceramic precursors and raw materials, which is a perennial problem, and finally ceramic manufacturing technology. So we have done a very detailed study in CSIR and our study reports are ready. So with this brief background of what are the various sub areas of ceramics and glass industry, and I'm fortunate to have feedbacks while we did the study from some of the speakers, like the first speaker, Mr. A.R. Unikrishnan. So I have the honor and pleasure of introducing Mr. Unikrishnan, who is a managing director of Saint-Gobain India Private Limited glass business. He started his career with Grindwell Group, which later on became a Saint-Gobain company, and he has worked very closely with the Saint-Gobain Group in 1997 to develop a strategic blueprint for their investment in India and the glass business. And he has been pivotal for the journey of Saint-Gobain to market leadership in a very, very short span of time, and has been instrumental in setting up state-of-the-art manufacturing facility with impeccable quality. More than 20 years of rich experience that Mr. Unikrishnan has in the glass industry sets him apart from many other professionals in the industry, and he's actually the chairman of many societies, including the chairman and member of many societies, including the Glazing Society of India, which he chairs, the CII Tamil Nadu Manufacturing and Competitiveness Panel, and he also chairs the CII Southern Region Task Force on Environment and Sustainability, and he's an executive council member of Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy. So I don't think there could have been a better speaker to speak on glass industry and its quality issues and productivity issues. So request Mr. Unikrishnan, over to you. And sorry to frame your response in within 8 minutes. 8 minutes may not be enough, but please let us know your essence of your observations. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sanyal. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you for the very generous introduction. Good evening, respected Additional Development Commissioner Srivastav ji, our moderator Dr. Sanyal, fellow panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. First, let me compliment the Quality Council of India for organizing this interaction today, because it's thanks to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry that ceramics and glass has been identified as one of the 24 priority sectors by the government. In fact, under the chairmanship of Shrikant Somaniji, who is also a speaker today, a committee had worked to prepare the roadmap for this priority sector. And I had the privilege and honor of working with him in that particular panel. So glass sector has several end users. Float glass, which goes into the buildings, that what we call the architectural glass, or the float glass that goes into the automotive part of it. Then, of course, we have the fiber glass, which goes into making of various components like the windmill blades or something which is used in the construction, especially the infrastructure construction. Then we have the container glass, the glass bottles that normally go into the pharma or the perfume industries, and especially now with the COVID, a lot of vials are in great demand. So I think this is one another dimension of the glass industry. And of course, the new baby on the block, which is the solar glass, which is required for the solar PV modules, and so on and so forth. So I think it's a very diverse set of end users, and an industry which is roughly around $5 billion in size as we speak today, and which has the capability, when our panel worked on that, all these different diverse sectors together, we saw an opportunity that it can grow to maybe around 11 billion. So from 5 billion to around 11 billion in the next 4 to 5 years with the right kind of steps from the government and also from the industry. Now, one of the key enablers for the industry would be the availability of gas, natural gas, at internationally competitive levels. So that from India, when we are manufacturing, we are still competitive. We hope the government would take the necessary steps in terms of, one, making it available at internationally competitive prices, and also bringing it under the GST. The Honorable Prime Minister spoke about it last week. So there is some hope from the industry that that is something which will be in the anvil. The other key requirement is the consistent and long-term availability of glass-grade sand. Now, sand in India is usually a dirty word, especially in construction. There has been a lot of malpractices related to sand, so therefore it has always been a dirty word. But I think it is important to understand that the glass-grade sand is very, very different from the construction sand. In fact, it cannot be used for construction at all. So a stable policy from the various state governments, it will be very important in this direction. Only then you can really look at long-term sustained availability of sand, which is a key raw material for glass manufacturing. Now, these are some of the interventions required from the government side. Let's now look at what the industry can and should do. So I'm here, wearing the hat of the chairman of the Glazing Society. So Glazing Society, which is an inclusive body of float glass manufacturers, downstream processing industry, facade consultants, architects, academy, and everyone associated in the ecosystem, has been really in the forefront of developing standards and codes, both for materials and for applications in the case of float glass. GSI, Glazing Society, let me call it as GSI. GSI really worked with Bureau of Indian Standards in not just formulating new codes, but also in strengthening existing ones, especially the ones on float glass, on the process glass, that is on the tempered, laminated glasses. All these standards were revised and made on par with international standards. It's still a work in progress, and I'm happy to inform that many new standards and codes of practice are in advanced stages of preparation. A great opportunity would be to make many of these standards, especially the ones which are currently already in place in NBC, the National Building Code or ECBC and things like that, are made mandatory. Because once you make some of those things mandatory, then it has huge opportunity for the whole industry and its ecosystem. GSI also took the initiative of setting up third-party testing labs for float glass and process glass on mechanical and the spectrophotometric properties. Today, we have 3 operating labs, one at the SGRT, which is in the IIT Madras campus. We have another one in CEPT Ahmedabad, and the third one at the CGCRI in Calcutta. So we have 3 operating third-party labs which can perform all kind of quality tests and give authentic reports to the end users. As a nation, we have embarked on a journey of self-reliance, or Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is therefore important that the industry, in particular the private businesses, take the initiative to uplift the quality of the whole category, both in real terms and also in terms of perception. Because when you're talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's not only what catering to the demand of the country alone, but also exporting a lot from India. Therefore, the perception on quality also matters. On quality, I can vouch for the whole industry that we are not behind anyone. On productivity, of course, there is huge scope for improvement, not just in the manufacturing part of the industry, but also across the value chain. I think we will still see a large part of the downstream processing or the construction, the fabrication and installation of glasses. These are extremely labor intensive and the productivity levels are abysmally low. So there is scope in terms of using technology, using digital, and using newer methods, and also taking many of these things from construction sites to the factories in a way to really improve the productivity. A very progressive work done on the glass industry in voluntarily strengthening the standards and setting up testing facilities and moving into a quality certification should be, in my opinion, a model for many other sectors also to emulate. I'm sure today the other eminent speakers will also enlighten us on the different aspects of the industry. There are other speakers also from the glass who will be talking its challenges and the opportunities. I really look forward to listening to all the other speakers, and I wish all the best for this great initiative by DPIIT and the Quality Council of India. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anikrishnan. I additionally congratulate you to stick to the time. You have finished it in 5 minutes, or I mean less than even substantially less time than you were allotted to, and you made your point so clearly and so so concisely that I think it has driven home all the things that are needed to drive home.
The quality tolerance given to me was 5 minutes plus or minus 1. So if I wanted to finish with that.
So it shows that you are a practitioner of quality even while speaking, which is a rare art. Okay. So with this, we have noted down some of your points for discussion further in the session when we conclude. So we will now move over to our next eminent speaker, Srikant Somani. I have the honor of introducing a person who does not need any introduction. He's a doyen in this area of glass and industry and ceramics also. He's basically chairman and managing director of Somani Ceramics Limited. He's the company who is a leading manufacturer of tiles, sanitary ware, and bath fittings. He has spearheaded the brand Somani to such a level that it has become a household name, and nobody has any doubt what Somani basically stands for. He has actually pioneered a revolutionary high abrasion technology called VC Shield for tiles, and holds the honor to make Somani the first Indian ceramic tile company to have received a patent under the Indian Patent Act. He's recipient of many prestigious awards from Corporate Technical Achievement and American Ceramic Society. He has been associated with various industry bodies. He's a founder and past chairman of Confederation of Construction Products and Services, CCPS, chairman of the Indian Council for Ceramic Tiles and Sanitary Ware, ICCTAS, past chairman of the Confederation of Indian Industry Northern Region, immediate past president of the Indian Ceramic Society, active member of the CII National Council, chairman of CII National SME Council, chairman of CII Center of Excellence for Competitiveness, and also chairman of CII National Environmental Council and member of various other councils of CII, which goes to show that he is basically a pioneer and a leading policymaker on ceramic industries. So we definitely look forward to some wisdom, not only just facts, but a good bit of wisdom from him as an Indian doyen. I did not talk about his many other hobbies, trekking, photography, gardening, which goes to show that he's a multifaceted personality. So over to you, sir. And you have probably 1 or 2 more minutes if you want extra time. Thank you.
Mr. Sanyal, thank you so much. And I would like to also say how Mr. Srivastava beautifully and very comprehensively outlined the context of the webinar. I'm tempted to quote the Chinese premier here. And that is that to cover 1,000 kilometers, you have to take the first step. And I think this is the first step that the department has taken. And I'm very glad about this. And I'm very honored to be with all of you and the galaxy of other people who are here to talk about this sector, which is very close to my heart. And I've been working in this sector for many, many years now. Talking about the ceramic sector, it needs no introduction. It's the tile sector specifically is the 3rd largest in the world today. And I would call it as an aspirational sector. More than 50% of the companies who represent the tile industry and the ceramic industry are in the SME categories. Very few industries are in the large categories. And as you, I will not duplicate in the sectors that it actually covers. Over the years, I think the ceramic sector has moved from the Indian subcontinent into almost 55 countries across the globe, which is a feather in our cap. And although the last year's beginning, because of the pandemic, was a little subdued, but later part of the year, when we saw the geo-economic policies being changed, India got advantage of that. And we were able to export much more than what we were able to do before. And I think this trend should continue. And as Mr. Uni Krishnan has said, I'm very, very thankful to the government of India to recognize the potential of this glass and ceramic and put it as the Atmanirbhar, as the champion sector. And I have no hesitation to say, in a sense, that Atmanirbhar, we are a sector that aligns very favorably to the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister. We consider ourselves in a very important growth phase. The world is witnessing realignments, and India is being seen very favorably in this changing world order. We have great opportunities in front of us, and it is the right time to make the policy reforms which will help to make us global leaders in our fields. And to set the context right, this sector is not seeking for, most of the sectors talk of giving income tax breaks and excise breaks and various other kind of SOPs. I don't think our sector is actually looking at that. We are looking at incentives which will make our sector competitive to be in the world forum. And we need to work on that as a brand India for our products. This is not just the mindset of the industry that is existing, but also the reforms that we seek, that we should be recognized as one of the best producers and the hub for products in the world. And I must say that the government of India has been very proactively looking at this sector and helping it. And the fact that it's brought us into the champion sector, I think its intention is extremely clear. I'm going to be very brief since the time limit has been given as 5 to 8 minutes. I do not want to take advantage of the fact that you've given me extra time. No, I don't think it's necessary because there are other speakers also. I'm giving the rationale behind why I think that the ceramic sector is an aspirational one. One, the very fact that this sector today also is self-reliant. 99% of our raw materials are Indian. I don't think less than 1% of the total input is being imported as far as the sector is concerned. This sector has the potential to further consolidate its position as a global leader. And it also has the potential to develop a global center for ceramic innovation, which is what you were hinting at one time. So in this context, I would like to touch upon the ways through which we can take this industry to the next level, to truly become Atmanirbhar, while also ensuring and becoming the manufacturing hub of ceramic industry. And we need to have a two-pronged push in this. One is the consumption push, and the other is the investment push. On the consumption side, I would say the first thing that we need to do is to make, and we've talked about environment, we've talked about pollution, we've talked about various other speakers have said. And I think one of the most important things is clean fuel. We've spoken about fuel, and I think gas is the cleanest fuel, which is now a raw material for this industry. Energy consumption in this industry is approximately anywhere between, depending on the kind and size of the industry, it's between 25 and 30%. And gas is not included in GST. I think the first thing that it would help the industry to become extremely competitive is to bring natural gas under the GST. When we talk of this, we are talking of China. China is the largest producer in the world. And I must here say that the Chinese do not have any tax on natural gas. So that's a clear advantage they have. And when we talk of Chinese, we are talking of economies of scale, quality. I think Indian producers have the world-class quality today, the sizes, the technologies. I think I can very proudly say that the Morbi industries, who are small and medium industries, but they have also gone 2 steps ahead to instill the latest technologies as far as manufacturing, printing, design, everything is concerned. The other thing is to propel the domestic market. And the best way of doing this is real estate. Real estate, today, it doesn't come under the GST. I think, therefore, input credit is not available. We must fight for getting real estate into GST. And on the other hand, we should also try and say that government projects, at least all those projects, should make it mandatory to use ceramic materials, tiles, and other things, both for facades and internal spaces. This would be a very, very important thing. On the investment push, there are 3 specific areas that I would like to touch upon. Is to develop competitive clusters, like Morbi has, and I think we should work towards developing Morbi, Khurja, Faridabad clusters as mega clusters. That would be the ideal thing to put India as a competitive manufacturer. And clusters in Morbi accounts to about 80% of the total production today that is being made in India. And this, if we do this, it will attract a lot of FDI, and additional revenue generation will take place. And this will also improve the competitiveness of the industry. We talked about R&D. From my heart, I say that if you see in the past, a lot of FDI has come. And FDI has come into sunset areas. We are looking at export of those products which have been already being exported by many countries. And therefore, we are just a part of it. I think we need to get out of this rut and go into sunrise areas. And when you said, I was so glad that somebody, Mr. Srivastava, made a mention about R&D. I think this is the right time where our R&D associations like CGCRIs and the rest, and even the universities should collaborate with other universities across the globe to bring in newer products specifically used in the sunrise areas of electronics, defense, space, and automobiles. The electric vehicles are going to be a part of the whole thing. And there's enough talent pool available, and we should use this, develop the talent pool that we have to develop newer materials, newer product and technology, and create IPs. I'm tempted to also mention one thing here, that 15 years ago, when the world moved towards China as a manufacturing hub, in these 15 years, China has created a massive MSME sector. And today, if I quote you, 75% of the IPRs come out of the MSMEs, and 74% of the new products come out of the MSME areas. I think here is the push which is required, where we can actually do wonders. One other thing on the quality front, not of the product, but I think equally important is the service quality as far as tiles is concerned, or sanitary ware is concerned. We do not have the right standards for fixing tiles. And therefore, this has to be taken as a project where we can actually start teaching people and create standards for fixing. This is a very important thing that I think we need to do. And the last thing that I would like to mention is to urge the government to constitute an expert committee to revisit the current FTAs and these policies for different nations. The current FTA policies with China and the ASEAN countries should be thoroughly evaluated. And the current FTA policies are asymmetric, and hence newer FTA policies should be based on the principle of reciprocity. Sir, these are some of the suggestions that I would like to make, and I've been also through CII and through other associations, we've been focusing and talking to the government in this aspect, and I'm very happy that we've been heard, and the government has taken a very positive view of this. Sir, I'm sure the other panelists who are there will have their views to say, and I don't want to hog their space. And I would rest my case here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. So it shows how much of detailed homework you have done on this this particular today's webinar, and you have made an array of observations and recommendations. We have taken note of most of these, and we definitely would like to put this on record we'll collate it and put it on record to the government. So also, you have managed your time very, very well in spite of your detailed observation. So I will, without dwelling on the individual recommendations that you have discussed, where I have my own personal comments also, which I'll reserve for the end of the session. So I would like to now invite Sri Nilesh Jetparia ji, who is the president of the Morbi Ceramic Association. He is also director of Kera Vitrified LLP. He's a partner of Sonex Industries, Sonex Zircon, and director of Sonex Vitrified LLP. He's advisor of International Standard Organization, ISO TC 189. He's a vice chairman of Chemicals, Ceramics, and Allied Products, CAPEXIL, undertaking by Ministry of Commerce, Government of India. He is in the selection committee, CD5 Bureau of Indian Standard, committee member and advisor of several important, Government of India and GST Commissionerate in Rajkot and other areas of Gujarat. He's a DDC member of Morbi District, Art of Living, which shows that he's, sorry to say that, I mean, it's a very cliched terms, is not only a materialist, but he's also a spiritualist, possibly, if I interpret correctly, because Art of Living is meant for that. So with this, I would invite Nilesh ji to make his observations. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to Mr. Srikant Somani for providing us such useful insight. To beginning with, I want to highlight some important facts and forecast of ceramic industries of India, and it is a contribution to Indian economy. I would like to start by focusing on exports. Export of Indian ceramic was 9,000 crore in 2016. It is increased 33%, and reached 12,000 crore in 2019. It is expected then another 25% in 2020-21, despite the pandemic, and reach to 25,000 crore in 2025. This is very clearly demonstrates how this sector has shown consistent growth. If we take example of our export to USA, we were at number 7, and 2021 we are reaching number 2, which is a very good achievement of Indian ceramic. Morbi Ceramic Industrial Cluster is the world's second largest producer, world's largest manufacturing cluster of variety of product at one place. We have all type of ceramic product in one geographical area of 250 square kilometer only. Government can develop very good infrastructure to support the industries in low cost investment which is again an advantage. From competitive perspective, Italy has a Sassuolo region having more than 300 vitrified manufacturing facility there. Spain, Castellon has more than 300 factory for volatiles and volatiles, and Fosan, China having more than 100 factory for vitrified, and Chaozhou have more than 800 to 900 sanitary ware units. But Morbi in comparison has more than 950 factory including all type of ceramic product. It is the world number one with regard to number of factory located at one geographical area. Other factory in close proximity like Himatnagar, Ahmedabad. Also, I would like to highlight that Indian ceramics is having important in the world ceramic industry in regard to developing new technology for producing low-cost quality product to promote growth of infrastructure in developing country worldwide. Our life is a very unique ecosystem. We are near to seaport. We have all product at one place, which make it very much suitable to ship in co-shipment of volumetric product like tiles and sanitary together. We have an infrastructure of transmission line and distribution line of GSPC and Gujarat case. We are having the most experienced and skilled manpower complemented with best quality of raw material. We have world latest technology of producing biggest tiles, including digital printing and continuing press technology. We are promoting Make in India concept worldwide by manufacturing world famous brands in India like Kistal, Iliani, Areke, Dongpeng, Lamosat, Dal Tiles, Mona Lisa, Portinari, Portobello, and many more. Lastly, I'm coming the most important topic of logistics on domestic and export trade. We have to increase infrastructure for port-to-port connectivity for domestic trade to save transit time and transport costs. We also need to work on land-to-port connectivity by rail and by good highway. The most important factor is alternative fuel for road transportation and sea transportation, especially cargo and carry by bark operated LNG. That alternative fuel can be LNG. Government is working a lot on it, and we are very thankful to them, and we see it happening in the very near future. LNG will be the next generation fuel for low-cost transportation. As LNG can be 35% cost effective than diesel fuel. It helps us lot of increase our product export to as many area manufacturing and exporting product that are far away from port and not having rail connectivity. For rail connectivity, government has established more new projects like DFC, dedicated freight corridor, which is established 11-5 plan. Eastern and Western DFC help us decrease transport cost and more decrease transit time, make cargo reach to the destination. Rail connectivity to raw material producing regional to finished product industry regional like Rajasthan to Morbi. Like for Morbi ceramic need use direct rail connectivity for transport raw material is a main transport system, can reduce production cost lot and make us very affordable to the world market. We also need to promote Indian company to invest in shipping business, maybe personal, private company or government business internationally to make our export Atmanirbhar in real sense. As we have a faced issue of shipping cost after lockdown era, it can reduce our import deficit to be provide affordable shipping cost to Indian importer. Thanks for giving such good time to interact with all of us. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nivesji. You have actually given a panoramic view of the Morbi industry cluster with the fact that it is one of the pride of India with, as you said, there is world's largest concentration of all types of ceramic products. Although you are saying it's a low cost quality product, so we should ensure through your experience that how we can increase the quality further, and we can increase also productivity if there are some productivity issues. So I think you have also given a very concise and brief presentation, so we are managing the time very well. So I would just like to take the liberty of announcing a small change in the order of speakers. Just the next speaker would be Mayurbhai Trivedi ji, whom I'm going to introduce shortly, but I'd like to request the organizer to allow me to change the order a little, because our director, Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra, she is back from her meeting with our governor or others, and she has some other engagements. So please allow me to reorganize the ordering so that Dr. Mishra is able to speak after Sri Mayurbhai Trivedi ji. With this, I have the honor and privilege of introducing Mr. Mayurbhai Trivedi, who actually he is a managing director of Euro Anchor Sanitary Ware Private Limited in Gujarat, and he has a huge, he's a considerable experience, large experience of business of ceramic vitreous sanitary ware manufacturing and marketing for more than 40 years, and he has started small unit with shuttle kiln and developed business up to continuous type tunnel kiln with renowned quality brand in Indian and export market. So he has been able to move with the time and upgrade his technology and to match the quality standards. And he has started manufacturing when there were very few units in the MSME sector. So obviously he is one of the very progressive industry persons who are always aspiring to become the leader in his own area. So he is actually representing 200 units of ceramic sanitary ware cluster in Thanagad in that association, and with his vast experience of more than 40 years, I am very sure that he will tell very, very pertinent and relevant recommendations for both quality and productivity of the sanitary ware sector. So over to you, sir.
Mayur sir, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Mayur sir, you are on mute, sir. Please unmute your mic.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Quality Council of India and Government of India, for organizing such a tremendous webinar on ceramic and glass, and believing that ceramic and glass is the champion product in India. So thank you very much for organizing this webinar. Thanagad is the oldest ceramic city, manufacturing ceramic since 1913. Now I would like to cover some topics which I feel are key factors for growth of quality and productivity, which will help to grow the industry. Quality of raw material is main factor to produce a quality product. If you don't get quality raw material, then you cannot produce good quality finished product. The Thanagad and India is rich of minerals, and we are lacking little bit of process control of all minerals. In particularly in wall clay, we do not have processors and getting the raw clay from the mines only. So I will suggest Government of India and Quality Council to encourage more processing units. Who is mining the minerals, they should go for the processing of the minerals, and then if they supply to the industry, then the quality of the finished product from the industry will be increased. Second thing I would like to say that the skill development is not there for ceramic industry. Like as ITI, we need a skill development for ceramic industry, skill development of worker in ceramic industry. So if government can set up the unit, skill development unit at Thangat and Morbi for casting, for glazing, for maintenance, etc., that will help the industry grow more. And another thing, standard improvement. Standard improvement is must required thing to improve the quality. If the standard is little bit lower, then we cannot go beyond the standard. Nobody can pay more than the market price. If your standard is improved, then you have to work for the standard, and then your quality can be improved. So I suggest to improve the standard as per the international standard for sanitary ware. To make Atmanirbhar Bharat, I suggest we do not have the substitute for, we do not have the factories which produce the silicon product, silicon carbide bats, silicon carbide beams, silicon carbide burner tubes, like that. So if the government will help the new industry to some incentive or to get the technology from outside India, then this import substitute can be manufactured in India, mainly in Morbi and Thangat. Regarding other things, many people has given their lecture and speak about the gas price. If we get the gas price at international market or open market, then we can improve our quality and improve our export. So gas price is major factor for ceramic industry. So if we can look on that, that will be more helpful to us. I once again thank you, Council of Quality Council of India, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have given very, very focused demands, identifying your needs of your cluster. I have only one personal comment to add on behalf of CSIR family, that when you are talking about silicon carbide, that's a very good point, that there are a lot of advanced ceramic products which are possible, carbides, silicon and other products. And for that, since you said that you want this point to be noted under Atmanirbhar Bharat, why to encourage government to allow you import of technology? We have sufficient technology within India, and in CGCRI we can definitely discuss with you whatever your demands, and we hopefully can meet your demands. So with this personal note, I would like to now invite the second keynote speaker. The first keynote speaker was Mr. Unikrishnan. The second keynote speaker of today is Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra, the director of Central Glass and Ceramic Research Institute, and she will put her observations on the entire spectrum of activities in glass and ceramics. So I would just briefly introduce her. Dr. Mishra has been the director of CGCRI since middle of January, 18th of January to be precise. And she's a material scientist specialized in advanced material processing and properties and characterization, having a PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. And she spent considerable time, several decades in as a scientist of various hierarchy, leading to chief scientist in CSIR National Metallurgical Laboratory before she took over as director of CGCRI. She has, excuse me, she has been also the professor and dean of engineering sciences in the Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, apart from heading several divisions in NML. She has more than hundreds published scientific articles in SCI journals, contributed to 7 book chapters, and she has 13 patents to her name, and has been responsible for transferring 2 technologies to industries, and has earned more than 25 sponsored projects as project investigator, principal investigator, or co-principal investigators, and guided a lot of PhD students. She has been awarded the Fellow of the National Academy of Sciences in 2018, Best Metallurgist of the Year award by Ministry of Mines in 2012, elected as Fellow of the Indian Institute of Ceramics in 2007, and bestowed with the Vasvik Award in Women category, and received the MRSI medal in 2004, awarded the CSR Raman Fellowship, very prestigious fellowship, in 2002, and the CSR Young Scientist Award in Engineering Sciences in 1999, to name a few. She, of course, was a gold medalist in her university, in ranking first in a batch when graduating. So with this, I request Dr. Mishra to kindly talk about her recommendations and her observations.
Ma'am, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening. First of all, thank you, Dr. Sanyal, for kind introduction, and thanks to the society who has this Udyog Manthan team who has given me chance to put a few words about me, about this very important sector. I also, as a director CGCRI, I take the opportunity to tell all the members of the panel that we have a lot of developments. We have a technology. Kindly do visit, and you will find many things which are applicable to your industry, and that can be. And they are at advanced level. They are not at the bench level. There are many technology which have gone to up to TRL 6, TRL 7. So I invite all of you as per your suitable time, and kindly give us chance to interact with you, and we would be very happy to solve your problem as well as transfer our technologies to these industries, because you all are right now, this panel is connected with the ceramic and glass industry. That's right. Now, coming to the putting point about the Udyog Manthan, probably everybody has talked. Sorry, I was not present in the initial. Many distinguished people gave their views. I have not heard it, but sure, I will take everything from Dr. Sanyal, what as he is there, and Dr. Annapurna. I would like to just highlight few areas of the which are important, which particularly India. In few places we have a good strength, and many places we don't have strength as an industry, but they are the important ones, because to become a self-reliant India, and to become every time we go for the import of the technologies, but even the smallest, many of the advanced ceramics and the advanced glasses, even we don't have we don't have industry yet. Probably these things, our conventional industry as well as the new entrepreneurs who are coming into Atmanirbhar Bharat, so many Make in India and so many programs of the government is there, and as a need of the nation, these I personally feel that these are very important, and the strength is there surely in nation. Surely it might not be placed at one place. CGCRA could be one of the place, but there it is in a scattered way. Lot of strength in terms of technology is available, and only industry and the academia and the research development has to labs has to talk very well, and so that real conclusion can come, and industry has to be from the very beginning. They have to involve themselves. I am sure this will be surely succeeding. First of all, I would like to say that magnesia chrome brick market is a very important, which is important, and it is going to be very important because of the different steel sector and different refractors requirement. But there are the environmental concerns, which gives you which is coming in the abroad. Many of the countries, because of this, they are not able to move ahead at the largest scale, and same thing will surely come to India also. This restriction because of environment, but we have a driver is that there is a lot of infrastructure development in emerging countries are taking place where the such things will be required. Then but here, because of the restrictions, one very important thing where industry has to get up, that is the recycling of the magnesium oxide carbon brick, and this will be very helpful. And this will not only change the this will not only make the self-sufficient, at the same time it will be a recycled material, and it can give a very good boost to the only restaurant is one that, beside the environmental issue, that it is highly dependent on, because recycling of the refractories is going to be dependent on the steel industry and such kind of a bigger industry, that is highly dependence are required. Other area is the insulating glass window is a requirement which is required in many building, as well as the residential complexes, as well as the commercial complexes. And here driver is that the optimal energy saving performance has to be done. It gives the optimal energy saving, which is the word today all over the world. We have to save the energy, and there are so many these can be these are very important. And here sealant is also one problem, and that sealant industry is also which comes into, if good sealant is not there, these glasses do not go to the actual application, so that should be developed. Now refractories, we need to have a newer refractories which are required in the advanced processing of steel and other related industries, where the refractories will play, because the processing of the steel or other things, they are going to be a different now, because of all this, because you need a cleaner steel, you need a green steel. So refractory demands has to be not only remain in the conventional one, but the newer better, which will cater to those needs, has to, the all refractory industry and as well as the refractory researchers has to come up with that, so that newer advanced refractories to meet those demands, because some may not be sustainable under those newer system. Now coming to ultra thin glass is another which is very important from the electronic point of view. From electronics industry, they need for many applications such as TV display, or the mobiles, or many of the electronic gadgets, this is a very ultra thin glass is very much required. And there you have a different processor, by float process, fusion process, but looks like float process is the major contributor in this field. And they are all the semiconductor, touch panel, fingerprint sensor, all these industries will be requiring that. And here the requirement is 0.1 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter thick. So you need such a thin glass having a good quality of that. Fire protection material is another area where everywhere we are required to put it in the building and other. Here the ceramics are going to play a role as a coating material, and they are required now today. Any advanced building or any advanced office house, the first things are the safety is considered as the first, whether this has been taken care or not. It is not in the here the fire protection materials and the coatings are going to play a major role. So such development in the industry must come at the industry level, so that they can meet the demands faster. The another one is the optical ceramics also plays a very big role in the optoelectronic as well as the optics applications. And the main material where these optical ceramics are, that is sapphire, aluminum oxynitride, spinel, and all. These are very important for the actual application in these materials. Then you have a different coatings which is required for glass material, as well as in the cutting tool industry and other places where you need the component performance has to be, life has to be increased by the different coatings. hard coating, soft coating, depending on the applications it is required. Then another big area is on the glass. Glass as well as different material is the hydrophobic, hydrophilic coating. These all are being talked, but actually at the industry scale, to my knowledge, such industries are not there, or it is very not developed at the industry scale. But these are the requirements which everyone has to meet. Otherwise, we will be bad. We cannot meet the demand, and we will be always be dependent on the foreigners' imports, so that it can be. Another is the strategic area is coming in a very big way, and a strategic area where the armor, vehicle armor, and missile materials. Now, nobody is due to strategic sector. Government is also very keen that because the technologies do not come, but unfortunately, such industry, big industry, only one or two. As I said, we as a CGCRI also we look at, then we are able to get only one or two people industry. But these are very important to make the self-sufficient India. And now, because of the Make in India, such sectors will have a lot of money even from the government. So where the armor is going to play, electromagnetic shields are going to play a big role. So here the borides, carbides, and their composites with the nitrides, the silicon nitride, and the ceramic matrix composite, having the capability of a bigger and actual component fabrication, which very few industry in India has the capability. And but abroad you have many such industries, so we have to gear from that side also. I think I don't. Besides that, conventional ones I have not touched today. But glazing and other things in the glass and the tiles, you cannot forget it, because this is a demand for the building material. This is the demand for the insulation material. But the old conventional is not going to work, because their setting temperatures are quite often quite high. So energy is more required. So room temperature setting and such glazing has to come there for the room temperature. So some work is being done as a geopolymer based and this thing, but probably that is also having a cost. So cost thing has to be worked into. Besides that, ceramic foams, which is used in industries, in aluminum industry and the steel industry, all the foundry uses a lot of mm, they need to filter it, and there the ceramic foams are the only solution for sustain those temperatures as well as stay there. So ceramic foam is another one. I think I have covered many of the areas where we have the capability, but we are not having the industry scale. But these are the materials which are the demand, and these are the specialized material. So probably you don't like refractory material, you need in a tonnage and tonnage, but these materials, the component level. Similarly for the laser glasses, laser materials, which now it's a requirement. If we are able to, so in a small, even if a component is developed, the same cost of that is huge. So earning is what I want to say, the profit is very high if those kind of glasses, those kind of ceramics can be really given by the made at the industry. So these we have to gear it up. Unfortunately, such industry is presently not much. Somebody was talking about sanitary. Sanitary is you have a lot of hydrophilic and hydrophobic coatings on the conventional ceramic sanitaries and pottery. Those things, if you do, a lot of water consumption becomes less, and then installation in the village and where the water scarcity is there, it is a very important area if that can be included in the Indian sanitary industry also. Probably I have covered many things, including scratch resistance glasses and all the many things are required. So with this, I have tried to give you some of the advanced areas where beside the conventional ones, we have to upgrade even the conventional ones by the advanced techniques, and the demands are there. And Atmanirbhar, Make in India makes it more feasible in India, so that such industry has to come, so that we become a self-reliant nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mishra. I think all the speakers and panelists and participants may already appreciate why Mr. Piyush Srivastava told in the beginning that one day webinar is not enough. We have lots of food for thought from Dr. Mishra, and really speaking, she has actually covered not only the conventional ceramic industry, but the advances which are already underway in various R&D sectors and should come in force through industrial participation. So we look forward to more engaging discussions, and one of the recommendations should be of this webinar to hold some more focused sector-wise, within ceramic and glass, more sector-wise discussions maybe. So with this, I again thank Dr. Mishra, and I would now like to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Jayavardhan Singh, um, who is actually a regional segment manager of India, Middle East and Africa of TUV Rhineland India Private Limited. And has been almost for more than a decade part of the TIC industry. And his core area of expertise is global regulatory affairs for consumer goods. So he brings in a kind of different perspective of certification and other issues which make the ceramic industries which can make the ceramic industries more competitive. So I request Mr. Jayavardhan Singh to speak about his observations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanyal. Just give me 1 minute.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sanyal. At this point, it is quite redundant to thank QCI for this wonderful event, but it's indeed a wonderful event, and I would just take this opportunity to thank the wonderful MCs that we have, Amit and Mrs. Kopila Gaur. You guys have done tremendous job. I just want to acknowledge that. Now, I was just cribbing on the fact that it's not easy to follow up after Mr. Somani and Mr. Unnikrishnan, and now Dr. Mishra has just made it quite worse for me. But anyways, I'm still going to try and do justice to the 5 minutes that were allocated to me. I have a small presentation, if I may draw your attention.
Can you make it full screen, please?
Yeah. I hope it's visible. I was trying to touch upon some fact related to standards, but I do not come from a place where I would want to talk about improving current Indian standard. I just want to talk about just building upon the wonderful infrastructure that we already have, courtesy BIS and of course QCI. Now, I was just, while preparing for this webinar, I was just going through few online research, and I saw one video by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and where they were encouraging people to use their money as a vote and probably buy sustainable product and encourage companies and countries to have policies to invest in more sustainable product and so on. And of course, construction is one such industry which is considered as a core sector which contribute a lot to so-called pollution, or which is something where sustainability has taken leaps and bounds. It has grown into leaps and bounds, and construction is also one of the sector which develops key solutions, regulations, guidelines, and quite quickly related to sustainability. Now, I would just present something. Just bear with me. I have a small perspective that I just want to build upon. Now, I was again. It's a research paper which I have a source link which you can find. It's just a analysis on Italian ceramic tile production and how it impacts the environment. Now, it's a very neutral paper. and the authors have done quite justice with the content. They have not extended and went on singing about praises on Italian ceramic industry, though everyone is Italian in the author panel. The point is, it's a comparison chart. I have just taken few segments. I don't want to judge the paper or rate it, or neither I want to comment on the contents of it. But by the narration of the paper is as such that the author is just comparing two cases. Now, Europe has its own eco-labeling scheme, which is something that they keep working on. They are going to review it and redo it this year, so they will come up with new requirements from sustainable construction, which is your EU eco-label. Now, it compares it with Italian decree of best available techniques for ceramic industry. I really like this term, best available techniques, because you know what, whenever you talk about sustainability, it's all about building a narration. We know the narration that probably Europe has, we know the narration that US has, and we know narration of most of the developed countries. What I propose is the narration of Indian industry. Why we need this narration? One of which will be, of course, to make such reports where we have a narration wherein we compare the Indian story with Italian best available techniques or European eco-labels. And you know what? When you do these comparisons, there are certain points. For example, I mean, if you look at this report, there are certain points where Italian available techniques bats fall behind European requirements, but it also has certain points like monitoring of lead, where Italian bats have overtaken. I mean, this is something they have really considered in their whole scheme of things, whereas Europe eco-label has not just considered this particular point. So the whole report is a very neutral report, and it actually benchmarks Italian bats with European eco-label and builds a narrative around Italian regulations. So yeah, so what I proposed was to have a homegrown sustainability scheme. I believe a homegrown sustainability scheme, it's very important because the world should know India's narration. So next time somebody is doing a research, he should come across a paper where they have an India's narration on how India is becoming more sustainable. Sustainability, when we talk and when we make standards, we always talk about certain aspects. I mean, we cover environment, we cover social, but at the same time, it's very important to cover other aspects like human or economic. Sustainability needs to have a whole holistic approach. In the morning, Dr. Srivastava was making a point wherein he was talking about the glass industry and how it is providing employment year after year to so many people. Now, when you talk about UN sustainable goals, it's not a zero-sum game. I mean, you cannot lose an employment opportunity just because you want to create a more a sustainable standard which is matching a European expectation. You need to have an Indian narrative. Now, the
Sir,
moment.
Sorry, sir. Just to remind you that maybe you can have a couple of minutes more because we are now approaching.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. I don't have much time, much else to say. It's just so the idea is it's pretty simple. Someone in BIS who was I suppose who was a great visionary who realized the importance of having an eco-mark scheme. We already have that scheme. So idea is just to build on that scheme and create a local narrative related to sustainability for India. This will help us promote India narration to the world and also limit products which India considers non-sustainable to enter India market. It just helps us on to account. I'll just move on to the next slide on advanced ceramic. It's just to sum up economically the point Dr. Mishra was making. Now, so again, I don't have much to add in this slide. It's basically to sum up the complete discussion that we have today on advanced ceramic. It's incubators like QCI who are bringing together institutes and people from institute like Dr. Sanyal and Dr. Mishra, connect with industry stalwarts like Mr. Somani and Mr. Unikrishnan to come together and work along with industry clusters like Nilesh Bhai and to make them realize that the same 3D printer that they are using for say their tiles can be used to make a kneecap, and then will use very less raw material and will give you a huge amount of money in return. So yeah, that's the two opportunities that I found, and I was pretty happy to share with the esteemed panel. So that's it. I hope I did justice to my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it was a very smart way of putting your points across that we should have our own Indian narrative, and we should build upon the knowledge base that is available. We're so so knowledgeable about what is happening in EU and US, but sometimes not so well versed in our Indian conditions. Not all, of course, the stalwarts in Indian industry, they are aware. But as you presented, can I request you to share these slides with the organizers so that we can take notes of this?
Of course,
Okay.
My pleasure.
Okay, thank you. So we move on to the next speaker, Sri Mukesh Sharma ji. Mr. Sharma is the general manager with Sisicam Flat Glass India Private Limited. He has a vast experience of working in various glass plants in, like, for example, Beta Glass in Nigeria as plant manager, Piramal Glass Limited in Gujarat, Samtel Glass Limited, Kota, Rajasthan, Saint-Gobain, Chennai, Samkar Glass in Kota, Corning Asahi Video Products in US, Samtel India, Vivadi, Jain Tubes, Ghaziabad, and so on. He has actually he's been serving glass industry. His background being B in mechanical engineering, but I think he has made himself a glass technologist by this process, and he's well versed in various issues of automotive glass manufacturing, CRT glass manufacturing, and total quality concepts, SQC tools, and so on. So with this, I would request Mr. Sharma to share his experiences and give comments on today's theme of quality and productivity in glass and ceramic industry. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sanyal ji. It is actually a great opportunity, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the QCI and the DPIIT for organizing this interaction between the industry and the government. I would like to just point out a couple of things. Some of the points that I would be speaking are in a way already spoken by my colleague speakers. Although I will just still go through that because there might be another aspect to the same point. To start with, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the DPIIT and the government for having put in place the QCO from 1st of January. The implementation of this actually has far-reaching effects for the industry as in terms of standardizing the product quality. Prior to this, there were many challenges of quality, substandard quality coming into the country. And that with the implementation is definitely going to facilitate the industry. In my view, besides this, QCO has been implemented for the clear glass, and I understand it is also being implemented for the safety glass and process glass shortly in a few months. It should also be extended to the other glasses like the ultra clear glass, the soft coated glass for the silver glass and tinted glass, in order to bring up the general quality norms at a much better and more consistent levels. Coming to the main opportunities or challenges for the glass industry. When we look at a glass industry, raw material, which was also mentioned by many of our co-speakers, is the key ingredient for ensuring the right quality and also in a way the right productivity, because if the raw material quality is inconsistent, it definitely affects the productivity. And I am sure all the people who are familiar with the glass industry will understand exactly what I'm trying to say. And if you look at the raw material segment in our country, the costliest raw material is very well organized. It is being supplied by manufacturers with very good processes in place. The soda ash, which is one of the most costliest, contributing to almost 60-65% of the cost of the raw material. But the other part, which is in volumes much higher, that is the sand, the dolomite, this segment is fragmented. It is not so well organized in terms of supplies, in terms of quality. It is not very consistent in quality. And the primary reason is many of the manufacturers, besides what I think Unni had mentioned, was the state governments bringing in support and a benchmark level. The other part of the problem these people face is that they have low access to upgradation of the technologies. They don't have access to the technology. They don't have access to testing facilities of their products. So if there is an effort to improve this, definitely the raw material qualities of sand and this will definitely become more consistent. And these facilities needs to be closer to the place of manufacturing, where these processes exist. So this was one point of view which I thought I should take this opportunity to share. The second is the energy, which also has been discussed. In energy, there are two aspects. One was, as some of our colleagues mentioned, the cost of the natural gas and putting it under the GST. So that part is definitely one thing that will help in the industry. But then the other half of it is, what can the industry do to bring down this cost? Unfortunately, the reality of the fact is that a glass plant, or I'm talking from a glass plant, I can't comment for the ceramic part, but a glass plant once installed has very little opportunity or scope to optimize or reduce the energy cost, because it is whatever has to be done at the stage of installation. That means it is the time where you design the technology, you choose the technology, you select your green energy options like wind power or solar power, and you bring this all at the project stage. And if there is some incentive which is being brought in by the government, as on today, these incentives used to exist years back, but as of over the recent part, this incentive seems to have got diluted. But especially for green energy like solar, for the glass sector, if there is benefits or incentives from the government, they can definitely be of help for fresh investments. Lastly, but the least talked about, is the supply chain. You see, in the glass industry, I can say for the glass industry, about 15% of the cost of manufacturing is spent on the logistics, both inbound and outbound put together. Unfortunately, we have not really progressed over the years in terms of innovation or alternative options in the goods movement, whether it is inbound or outbound. To some extent, Central government has done some initiatives of using the rail transport. which I believe is the future. There must be real efforts to use rail for transporting finished goods, even raw material. And that can definitely reduce or lower the cost of transportation. Another option is using the sea freight, three options. Presently, it is a very underutilized, and it's also having the challenge of limitations. You don't have much opportunities. But there are, we as a company have used sea freight as an option to ship glass to Kerala, and the cost is about 30-35% lower. So this is another options that need to be explored in the outbound logistics. And lastly is mass movement of goods. Especially our industry is very much voluminous industry where mass and bulk movement will be a big advantage on the freight cost. So these are the areas which I thought I'll share my thoughts. And since we are short on time, I would like to thank everyone once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think you have made quite a few observations which we can deliberate upon. Your observation on supply chain is very timely, because supply chain and logistics is one of the strongest point which can either make or break the sustainability of a particular industry. And this has also ramification with respect to certain key areas which I can summarize later. We have our own observations from our own study in CSIR, how supply chain can potentially catapult us to a world leader, or if we are over dependent on foreign supplies for very high purity raw material for glass making or certain sector of glass making, we can even go into a downswing. With this, I would like to thank you again, and we will come to the last speaker of this entire webinar, who is Mr. Tariq Kachwala. He has an MS MBA from New York University, and he's looking after the operations, marketing, strategy, and new business development at FG Glass. He uses his knowledge of glass science to consult with developers and architects on glass performance and capabilities while bringing a fresh perspective to glass selection. He is a very noted and prominent personality in glazing fraternity and collaborated on various industry initiatives on quality standards, new quality standards, inventory management, cost analysis and controls. So we look forward to a very engaging deliberation from him. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shri Sanyal, and good afternoon to all the distinguished dignitaries, speakers, panelists, the audience. Thank you to Udyog Manthan, Quality Council of India, DPIIT, and the Government of India for having me on board for this extremely important industry-focused initiative. Somehow I always manage to be the last speaker for several sessions. So I'll take this both as an honor and a responsibility to end it in the best way possible. So you've already given a great introduction, Shri Sanyal. I'm Tariq Kachwala from FG Glass. We are a glass processing company based out of Mumbai. Started operations in 2004, and we've been in the processed glass industry for architectural use ever since. When I say processed glass, these are glasses that are made fit for use in final architecture by way of cutting, heat treating, insulating, painting, laminating, doing all the value addition work that it requires for it to finally go into a building envelope. And we generally sell our products to an entity called as an aluminum fabricator who would take our glass, they would glaze it in their systems and get them installed on facades. All in all, we are a very important part of the wonderful modern architecture that you see all around you. And I think this little bit of introduction was required because processed glass as a definition may not be known to everyone. When we started operations in 2004, there were 13 companies prior to us who were in this space.
Sir, may I interrupt you? We have the kind of a mandate for limiting this discussion not to a particular introduction for certain companies, but to limit to the
I
topic.
apologize. I just wanted to make sure that process glass is known to everyone. So the process glass industry today is definitely more competitive in terms of quality and capability than it was ever before. And in my personal opinion, this can be accelerated further, and acceleration can come via important seminars like what we've been having today. There have been both opportunities and challenges in our sector, and of late, we have positively seen a collective effort across several members of this industry and supply chain to address this through associations and forums like this. Some common points related to, say, energy costs, real estate, GST reforms, they've already been highlighted by the accomplished panelists before me. And for brevity, I don't want to repeat any of those. Since we are in the same construction industry pool, and all these points are equally relevant to our industry as well. But I would like to focus on some key points here that are very specific to the industry. I would like to start off with standards. And I want to highlight the very important work that BIS has done in this regard. Still, at least 3 years back, there were no single standards for process glass industry, and professionals like ourselves would rely on, say, a British standard or a European standard or an ASTM standard, sometimes manipulating these standards to suit the products that we are producing. With the coming together of IS 14900, 2553, 16982, 16945, all of these standards for process glass industry, now these are already published, as our keynote speaker, Mr. Unnikrishnan, has said. There are other standards that are under printing. There are some standards that are under deliberation. Dr. Suman Mishra hinted at glass for armored vehicles. So bullet-resistant glass standards are now under consideration. Hopefully, very shortly, these will be gazetted as well. What we require the Indian government and BIS is to mandate this use of these standards so that the overall quality levels of this country can be taken to the next level. The second point I want to highlight is on workforce skills. Skilled manpower is very, very critical for glass handling, and this is not an easy affair. There have been initiatives on this front. Associations like Glass Academy have taken the lead in skill development, but we would request the government of India to encourage the formation and implementation of glass and glazing related ITI courses all over the country to improve the overall competitiveness of the Indian glass and glazing industry on the global scale. Glass handling, glass processing, and usage requires very, very specialized labor and skills due to its fragility and application space criticality. Hence, the formation of a large pool of skilled workforce will definitely help India to compete with the best of the world. The third point I want to highlight is on infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, I'm specifically talking of power infrastructure and road infrastructure. Now, process glass dynamics dictate both an uninterrupted high quality of power and a good road infrastructure and logistics system for safe transportation of glass. All glass is toughened, an electric furnace is used, and every power breakdown results in huge batch losses for us. Apart from this, a bad road network also results in huge losses in terms of breakage during transportation, and all these contribute to economic losses, which are nothing but national losses. A good power network, uninterrupted power, a good road supply, and a better logistics system will definitely help us lower the cost by not forwarding all these unnecessary losses to our customers. And the last point I want to highlight is a better supply chain in terms of availability of raw materials easily and cheaper. Process glass industry is growing at an exponential pace. There are more than 300 glass processing companies in existence today, and these have all sprung up in a very, very short period of time. And we would want the raw material supply to be in sync with the demand that is being created for float glass. There have been initiatives on this front as well in terms of formalizing standards. The new National Building Codes has mandated use of safety glass for a lot of applications where it was not used before. So all of this is only going to contribute to a higher acceptance of process glass and a surge in demand for process glass. So raw material availability has to keep pace with such supply of such a huge demand. Else, a higher cost of raw material may render us uncompetitive on the global scale, may allow for cheaper imports to come into the country, which may disrupt our operations. And with that, I would like to thank all of you for hearing me out. These are the 4 points that I wanted to mention, apart from everything that all the previous distinguished speakers have already said. I would like to again thank the Council of India, Government of India for coming up with such an industry-wide initiative, and to the Glazing Society of India for giving me an opportunity to speak over here. I am of the firm personal belief that the Indian glass processing sector has the potential to compete on the world stage with respect to its capability, quality, and our commitments. Such forums are a very important part in increasing the awareness about our industry. And with its great impetus on local manufacturing, I would like to thank the government and its Atmanirbhar campaign. We are a growing and aspirational and a very dynamic manufacturing sector of this country, a very important contributor to the Indian economy, a very high absorber of labor workforce, and we request the Government of India to continue facilitating our growth story with reforms and initiatives that we very rightly deserve. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you very much. I am very, successful in not interfering too many times about time, but the first speaker, the keynote speaker, and the last speaker, incidentally, they have stuck to their time very nicely. So my job has been, easier. Now
I was over by 53 seconds. I had my stopwatch here. So
okay, thank you. So now I request the organizers to, invite questions. I mean, already some questions might have been in the chat box. So if we can have a look at the questions and we can see what are the questions to be discussed with the little time that we have. Is it already shared in the WhatsApp group? I mean, as was discussed earlier?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes. Okay. So let me just go to the WhatsApp group, and I'm just checking the questions which I've gathered. Yeah. So, so I see the first question that I have on my screen is, dear esteemed panelist, great work, but I did not find any mention to clay-based building materials like clay hollow blocks. This is a green building material and the material of the future. Wish some emphasis is based on this too. We need to move from our traditional clay bricks to more green building materials like clay hollow bricks. So on this particular question, may I invite comments from Srikant Somani ji?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sanyal. I think it's a very pertinent question. The only thing is that this needs specific emphasis. The government of India needs to make a specific emphasis on the mining as well as a total holistic approach towards this sector, because because one, clay mining is becoming difficult, or specifically of this kind of clay. Secondly, the cost factor is there. When you move into machine manufacture hollow bricks, the cost increases. And that is one of the inhibiting factors why the hollow bricks in India didn't take off as much as it should have. Although I completely agree with Mr. Singh, who asked this question, perhaps, that we need to look at this sector as well. But then again, as I say, this sector is highly prevalent in Germany. Many companies are making machineries for hollow bricks. But then again, the question is cost. I think this is something that we need to look at holistically, from the mining to the cost to the machinery and the entire industry per se. But this has a future, I agree.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question, if I can, I would request our organizers to, remind me when there is a time overshoot. But the next question is from Mr. Prasoon Misra. The question is, how can we reduce import of technical and specialty glasses for automotive and electronic industries? So there is probably another question. The second one from the same Mr. Mishra. What are the key improvements that ceramics and glass manufacturers can bring towards quality in this sector? So the sector is technical and specialty glasses. So how can we reduce import for automotive and electronic industries? So can I invite Mr. Unikrishnan to answer this?
Yeah, I think on the quality, I think I spoke in my initial opening remarks that I think as an industry we have taken several steps forward. One in terms of bringing in quality standards. I think it was also alluded by Mr. Tariq during his speech also. So the entire glass ecosystem, whether it's float glass manufacturing to glass processing, that entire ecosystem has really brought in quality standards on the products. And when it comes to the glass installation, which is what finally happens on the building and for the end customers, there are codes of practice on the installation and the application which have also been brought in, and some of which are now part of the National Building Code itself. So I think in the glass industry, especially on the architectural part of it, and the automotive always had, thanks to the strong OEM, quality culture and the way they set up their supply chain. I think on the building sector in the last 4 or 5 years, there has been significant steps taken on that. And therefore, to comply with that kind of quality standards, the manufacturers have also taken several steps. One in terms of the technology, I think technology has been available. Choice of the right kind of machineries, I think that has been very, very relevant, which has been done. And then in terms of equipping their people in terms of the right skills required. So I think there has been a lot of work done on that part of it. Getting into the other types of glasses, for example, in terms of the electronic industry and other things, this has been a bit of a challenge because these are ultra thin glasses and very much tied up with a certain OEMs like a Samsung or LG and specific companies like that. So it largely goes with their ecosystem of manufacturing. So it depends where they manufacture the equipment, and it's normally it's like how an auto OEM works. It's in the same like an ancillary industry it develops. So many of those things have not really developed in India because in India in the past we never had that kind of a large appliances manufacturing base. Who knows in future if that kind of a base really emerges, there will be opportunities for many of those things. Immediately we don't see, but it's a possibility in the future. You're on mute, Dr. Sanyal.
Sorry. So the other part of the question was how to reduce imports of technical and specialty glasses for automotive and electronic industries.
Yeah, so that's what I said. On the electronic industry, a certain scale is reached in the country. I really don't think there would be manufacture happening in the country because the kind of investment required and the kind of scale that you require for that is very, very high. So unless the appliances or the electronic manufacturing base in India itself becomes significantly larger, it may not be a viable option for many people on that part of it. Many of the other specialty glasses, for example, a bulletproof glass, fire-rated glasses, many of those things are today manufactured in the country. You don't have too much of import coming in. In fact, on the contrary, I must tell you that most of the exports of glass, at least the float glass and the related products happening from India, are actually specialty products and value-added products. It's not the basic commodity glass. The basic commodity glass, it becomes very difficult for us to be competitive because of the high energy prices in India. But it's really on the value-added products that we actually export from the country as a country.
Okay. So I see that, thank you, sir. I see there are several other comments, not too many questions now. One comment is from Sharanjit Singh. He says that electronic specialty glasses are very thin glasses below 1 millimeter thickness and are chemically tempered as against thermal tempering used for most products. So it's more of a comment than question. So I have nothing more to add on this. But there is a comment on and maybe a question from Mr. B.K. Mahanthan. How can CGCRI help in transfer of new ceramic technologies to MSME? So yes, we are available for discussions. We would welcome anybody in the yes. So anybody who is present here and participating and wants to know about how CGCRI can help MSMEs for transfer of technologies, we have, as you may be aware, we have 2 outreach centers at Kurjia and Naroda, and through outreach centers also we do a lot of skilling and some small technology transfer, characterization of raw materials as well as finished products and so on. And in the main center in Kolkata, we have facilities for architectural glass testing, and we are certifying bodies for such kind of architectural glasses. So we have many roles to play to facilitate the theme of Atmanirbhar Bharat with quality and productivity. So we will definitely welcome more interactions. So I think we have come to the end of the question answer session, because not many other questions have piled up. So it's now my duty, if I'm allowed, to kind of summarize today's webinar. At the outset, I would like to thank all the eminent speakers who have taken time out of their busy schedule to join this endeavor, basically of the Quality Council and the Government of India's wing. Udyog Manthan is towards, it's actually it's an endeavor across many other sectors, but this ceramics and glass sector, it has a tremendous potential to grow, and we are leaders in certain areas already. We are the second largest tile manufacturer and exporters. We are also going to lead in other sectors. So the leadership, once we have we are going for leadership, to become a leader is in itself an achievement, but to retain the leadership requires much more effort, because technologically you have to continually upgrade ourselves. So the issue of quality and productivity is the key issues. And what we have gathered from today's discussion, there are very key points which have emerged. One is the raw material, that in itself constitute the strength of the quality of the ceramic industries. And as we have also done our study in CSIR, within CSIR family, how to address this raw material issue and what are the raw material issues. For example, in the ceramic refractory sector, what we have noticed, and everybody knows who are in the business of ceramic refractories, that Indian bauxite and magnesite, they are of relatively low quality, and because of the low quality with impurities like lime, silica, iron oxide, and so on, we are perennially importing a huge quantity of Chinese and other countries' refractories, raw material. So those raw materials is a drain on our exchequer, cheap and available from other countries, but that's not the very ideal way if we are moving towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. But what is happening is industry has their own compulsions. There is no point criticizing industry also, because industry has to move ahead. Industry, it means that they are always aiming the global market. So the price competitiveness forces the industry probably not to invest in beneficiation. If we can invest in beneficiation and make the raw material better, the Indian industry can take advantage of our local raw material, which is beneficiated. So these issues, there are many such issues. For example, in glass sector, one area which we have not touched upon in this today's discussion is glass fiber. Glass fiber is a specialty fibers is a forte in the context of CGCRI. We have manufacturing techniques and technologies for making specialty optical fibers, but to do that, we need very, very high purity raw materials. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. And most or almost 99% of these raw materials are imported. So we can actually transfer many technologies to Indian MSMEs on specialty fibers, but then they cannot stand entirely on their own legs, in the sense that they cannot be Atmanirbhar without having a supply chain issues resolved. So other things that have been discussed today and raised today is are actually the availability, as Mr. Unikrishnan said, of glass grade sand as part of the raw material. So this glass grain sand, he has highlighted that it's quite different from the ordinary construction sand. Some policies have to be made on that. Then from Glazing Society, they have taken a lot of efforts. But when we talk about quality, we are not talking about only the quality in the Indian context, in the global context. That's what Mr. Unikrishnan has highlighted. And for productivity, he says that there is a huge scope for improvement as we have to move progressively from manual labor intensive processes to more automated processes, to whichever way it facilitates us. Mr. Somani has made very, very pertinent and very important policy points that there has to be right kind of incentives for the ceramic sector to make us globally competitive. So the government of India should look into some raw material issues, as has been pointed out already, and there has to be some ceramic innovation which should be globally attractive. I mean, it should catch the attention of the entire global market. And in the context of manufacturing of ceramic components in our Indian industry, there has to be push from consumption angle and also investment push. So although there are several government of India initiatives like Swachh Bharat and smart cities and such initiatives, which actually pushes the Indian market demands on ceramic and glass directly or indirectly. But there has to be several policy reforms. For example, to make the consumption push sustainable, there has to be clean fuel, and natural gas should be put under GST. And to beat the Chinese, the Chinese, like he observed that they're having large economies of scale, and I mean, it's a good, good infrastructure for quality production. So this kind of things have to be beaten by Indian industry. It needs a different policy, different incentives. Now, investment push, for that, Mr. Somani has recommended that why don't we make the Morbi and Khurja and Faridabad clusters like mega clusters, which might attract FDI to make us competitive. And also he has rightly said that our R&D, to make the Indian products, Indian initiatives more innovative, our R&D establishments should come together and give inputs to the industry. So we are very happy to note that he has, he has actually kind of emphasized the role of R&D to have the quality and productivity push. I mean, again, for paucity of time, I reserve my own personal comments. I would just summarize the main recommendations, and I would request all the key speakers to, all these things will be kind of summarized and shared with you as recommendations, and across, over the next couple of days maybe, and we should clearly put down, even if some points have not been adequately enforced or rather emphasized, we can put it down. So there are some other issues like in the quality front, that there's some service related qualities which Mr. Somani says are lacking in the tiles and sanitary ware sector. So there has to be, as per his suggestion, some government initiative to constitute an expert committee to review the current policies. So I think there are quite a few policy related things that he has emphasized which we should work upon. Sri Nilesh Jitpariya has actually talked about the potential of growth in the industry and especially the exports. By 2025, he is anticipating a further 25% growth, provided we stick to the quality policies. And it's a proud achievement that Morbi industry sector has one of the largest, I think the largest concentration in the world of all kinds of ceramic processing. But to maintain this, Morbi needs rail connectivity and reduced shipping costs, as far as I have gathered his recommendations are. Shri Trivedi, Mayurbhai Trivedi has also emphasized on the quality of the raw materials, which makes Thanagarh district as a mineral-rich district. And the GOI and Quality Council should encourage more processing of minerals. That means beneficiation and improvement of the minerals after mining. And there has to be a very important point that he emphasizes: skill development. Adequate skill development in the form of training, like an ITI kind of training for casting, glazing, and maintenance, and so on. And there should be improvement in quality standards, so that improvement in the sense that quality standards should not only be formulated but enforced. The enforcement and quality on the producers should automatically make our quality higher and world standard. And then he commented that for Atmanirbhar Bharat, we should also look into advanced ceramics like silicon carbide products, burner tubes and pads, and so on and so forth. And for that, I think we are all there. Indian initiatives are also there. When you can fill up this, fill in the blank, we can probably meet his demands with new technologies. And gas price should be lowered to improve exports. Director CGCRI, Dr. Suman Mishra, talked about the role of advanced ceramics and glasses, which can permeate the entire gamut of industries and foster a lot of developments, starting from magnesia chrome bricks, which is going to be a huge market due to steel industries, to glass windows and architectural glass, especially for optimal energy savings, refractories, special refractories which need to be developed for clean and green steel, glasses for electronic industry, specialty glasses, which has been also covered by Mr. Unikrishnan to some extent, fire protection units, basically ceramic coatings, and several types of other ceramic coatings for glass and ceramic coatings, like hydrophobic and hydrophilic coatings for specialty glasses. Then optical ceramics and glass for optoelectronics and optical applications, sapphire, then aluminum oxynitride, transparent ceramics. And there are many strategic ceramic usage. She has encouraged development in vehicular armor, missile electromagnetic shield materials, composites of ceramics for various thermal protection systems, and glazing of glass and ceramics, as well as ceramic foams. So all these are food for thoughts for all of us. Mr. Jayavardhan Singh has talked about opportunities of the ceramic industry vis-a-vis sustainability and some advanced ceramics applications. And according to him, sustainability needs a very holistic approach, and and we should develop our own Indian narrative for the Indian industry, building upon whatever is there in EU and in US and other countries. And he also has urged that we should limit products in the Indian context which are not sustainable. We should not allow those non-sustainable products to come in and permeate our market, as if I have interpreted his talk correctly. And he has also provided some clues to certain new business models. Sri Mukesh Sharma ji has actually tried to address the opportunities and challenges in this sector, both in terms of raw material with right quality for the improvement of productivity also. And he rightly stressed upon the fact that very costly raw materials like soda ash, which takes 65% of the cost of this industry, is well taken care of. there's no crisis. But whereas very high volume and relatively low quality materials like sand and dolomite, there are some consistency problems in quality, and there are also some crises related to low access to technology upgradation or quality certification and testing. And this had to be addressed by making some facilitating centers closer to the industrial manufacturer. Also the energy issues, like as is already recorded, that natural gas cost has to be taken care of and it has to be put under GST. But the industry, as far as energy is concerned, he says that the glass industry, reducing the energy cost is a challenge unless it is taken care of in the very beginning in the project stage, where government of India might give certain incentives for alternative, sustainable green energies like wind or solar. So this is a broader policy statement. As far as supply chain is concerned, he thinks that the logistic charges are quite high. It's about 15% of the cost of manufacturing, both for inbound and outbound costs. And so he thinks that rail and sea shipment both should be encouraged, and mass movement of goods should be taken care of. And finally, Sri Tariq Kachwala had given his observations. He thinks that the BIS standards until 3 years back were not available in proper shape, but right now there are a lot of standards are available or being made available or under development. But this standards, he opines that these have to be mandated by the government, that these standards has to be enforced on producers. The other point that he made is skilled manpower is extremely critical for sustainability and growth. As far as infrastructure is concerned, he has pointed out both power infrastructure and road infrastructure to be extremely, highly available and highly efficient infrastructure, so that losses or production losses are cut down to the minimum. And finally, he talks about better supply chain. So availability of raw material should be easier and cheaper. His context was basically processed glass, but I think it actually is pertaining to all kinds of ceramic and glass products. So with this, I think we kind of summarize today's webinar's deliberations, and I would hand over the control to the organizers. And please, so
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sanya sir. This indeed has been an enriching manthan, which has touched upon the various aspects in the ceramic and glass sector. There have been several deep insight and recommendation in today's manthan that will be compiled into a compendium that would help to strengthen the ceramic and glass industry in the country and will significantly contribute to our Prime Minister's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. On behalf of DPIIT and Quality Council of India, now I would like to conclude this today's session by thanking Shri Piyush Srivastava for gracing this event with his presence and setting up the context for the session. Special thanks to Dr. Suman Kumari Mishra and Shri Unikrishnan for giving their valuable insight on the sector. Thank you, Dr. Sanyal sir, for steering the deliberation so well and summarizing the discussion articulately. And to our esteemed speaker for such a meaningful deliberation. Thank you all our partners. Please pardon me for not taking the names as the list is very long, and QCI team for their hard work. And last but not the least, our wonderful audience. Here I conclude the session. Goodbye and have a great evening. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.